Can tuning break your car? Well, this one looks pretty broken, doesn't it? So a frequent question that can crop up from clients time to time is, can tuning break the car? Or perhaps they've had a tune or some performance parts fitted previously, and then later down the line, something's gone wrong with the car. And they question, has the tune or performance parts have anything to do with it going wrong? And it's a fair question. Well, I'm going to try my best to answer that for you. Now, bad tuning can potentially break the car. Bear with me, I don't want to put you off, keep watching. So if you've taken your car somewhere and it's been incorrectly tuned via remapping, or it's had some performance parts fitted somewhere but overworked the car past what it was ever intended to do, then you could potentially break something. The likelihood though is that it would break something quite quickly because if something isn't right, then it's not going to behave right from day one. So if you experienced a problem with your car quite quickly after you've had it tuned or performance parts fitted, then you may justifiably suspect that there's something wrong with the tuning or the parts. However, if it's much later down the line, then I would say it's much less likely. Now here at Wraptor, we don't just do tuning and customization, but we also do maintenance and repair as well. So therefore, we definitely have some broken examples of cars for you to check out as well. You see, cars can break regardless of whether they're tuned or they're left standard. Here's one we have in the workshop at the moment. This F-Type has had the injectors fail. So this can cause things such as a misfire, excessive smoke, warning malfunction lights on the dashboard, and it can in some cases even cause detrimental engine damage. Once we had one of these injectors fail with a car on the rolling road dyno. Luckily, it failed just before we started tuning it, and it created excessive smoke, misfire, warning lights. It didn't look pretty at all. But imagine if it failed right after we did the tuning. I mean, it wouldn't look good in front of the customer, would it? And he would quite rightly suspect that it had something to do with the tuning that we've done. But actually, it was nothing to do with it, and it was pure coincidence, and very lucky that it failed just before we tuned it and not just after. So is this car tuned or standard? Well, actually this car is tuned, and it was even tuned elsewhere by another company. Now it'd be very easy to blame them for a tune or fitting a performance part that's broken the engine and now it needs new injectors, but honestly that's not the case. Unfortunately, things just fail, and the injectors is one of the more common things that fail on these cars. So we've just got to replace it, and hopefully this car is going to be running fine and it hasn't caused any major damage, but we'll change the injector and see how this one does. That isn't all we've got in the workshop at the moment. Check out this one. It's pretty serious, a pretty big and labour-intensive job. So we've got combustion gases escaping into the cooling system, over-pressurising and overheating the engine quite badly. So that means we have to drop the engine out of the car in order to be able to strip it. So the engine's aluminium cylinder heads are majorly warped, so they're being re-engineered as we speak. The head gaskets have failed considerably. There's gases leaking out of here. This is the combustion chamber, where the piston is in your engine, and it's leaking straight out of here into these jackets here, which is the cooling system, which is causing excessive pressure, exhaust smoke, misfires, overheating, and more. Not only that, but the engine cylinder block is damaged too. Now, this engine has actually already been attempted to be repaired elsewhere. They put some new head gaskets on and it didn't work. Now, this video isn't about trying to slate some other garage or whatever trying to fix it. It's an in-depth, complex job. There's a few unique bits about this engine and it does require specialist tools. But we are quite experienced in these engines, so now we're going to re-engineer a lot of this and then hopefully rebuild it, and it should be A1. So is this vehicle tuned or standard? Well, this one is completely standard. Slightly higher mileage than some at 90,000 miles, but again, it's pretty unfortunate what's gone wrong. Root cause could be a different underlying problem, previously overheated, or just pure bad luck, and again, they do some miles and they need some maintenance. Now, head gaskets failing and stuff like that isn't necessarily a very common problem, but it's not unheard of either. Some cars are low mileage, some cars are high mileage, some cars are tuned, some cars are completely standard. And sometimes, you know, they can fail due to various underlying problems, lack of maintenance and things like that. And sometimes it's just luck of the draw. Now, your opinion may be that your vehicle is perfect from factory and there's a reason that they don't bring out a faster or more powerful model. But they do, don't they? Using the same engine, they do various different power levels, and just when you think you've got the fastest one, the most powerful one, that's it, that's its limit, next year the manufacturer brings out a more powerful one. Here's an example. Here's our own Jaguar F-Type SVR, and unfortunately the head gaskets failed on this, so we had to replace them. We bought it in this condition and the car had only done 20,000 miles from new. Standard or tuned? Well, this one, completely standard. As you can see by the livery though, we don't plan on it staying like that for very long. So what do we offer at Wraptor? Well, we have lots of different various levels of tuning depending on your budget and aspirations. Remaps we can load onto your car using a tool like this. There's a couple of options with remapping. We can either load on a flash tune, which is basically a pre-made file. So this would have been developed on a real car using a rolling road quite methodically and then saved. And then that can be kind of copied and then used on other future cars of the same specification. It's much quicker, cost effective, it's common practice and very, very popular, and it can give you peace of mind that that very tuning file has been used on many, many other cars with no problems whatsoever. Option 2, custom remapping. So this is done typically using some in-depth equipment such as a rolling road dyno to measure the car's power, an emissions tester, also a data logger, so we can read all of the information from the car's ECU and engine sensors to ensure everything is operated to its best potential car is presented and within safe, reliable parameters. This is a very long, thorough and therefore more costly option of remapping, but it is commonly done to gain the absolute best we can out of the car. Also, we have lots of physical parts upgrades available. We've taken our time and engineered these to absolute precision using quality materials. We've also then used these on our own development cars and tested them thoroughly before offering them out to you guys, the public, so you have confidence that these are really high quality performance parts for your car. So what can break your car and how can you avoid your car breaking? So getting more power out of your car can work it harder. It can put more strain on the car, but that shouldn't break the car alone. We are still within safe parameters, but it can increase the likelihood of other things breaking the car, such as, but not limited to, first top tip would be keep up to scratch with the maintenance. Make sure your car is serviced and repaired regularly and properly. And I would highly recommend using quality oils and filters within your car. And a top tip further to that would be not only select the correct grade of oil for your car, but also make sure it contains the correct part numbers. If you've got the correct part numbers, that will mean the oil contains all the correct additives specifically for your engine. Another thing would be underlying faults, whether you knew they were there or not. So that can have a knock-on effect and deteriorate or damage other parts of the car. So to help avoid this, I would recommend doing a fault code reading, like so. This one seems to have a few faults in it. So we probably need to look into and rectify these before tuning and just for the sake of good reliable motoring. And I'd also recommend a good thorough visual inspection, ideally in a workshop on a vehicle lift like this, so you can have a good look all around the car for anything that's obviously not right. There's some bits missing off that one, for example. Other things that could potentially damage the car is if it's previously been ran low on oil or overheated or something like that. That can cause permanent damage inside the engine. Now, of course, there's not much you can do once that's happened, but monitor it and hope it's okay, and just try and prevent it from happening in the first place. Now, this one, you're not going to want to hear it, but it's true, and the problem is driver error. See, the thing is, just slamming your foot down hard on the accelerator pedal is quite harsh for the engine and drivetrain, particularly if you've got an automatic and the gearbox decides to kick down quite harshly. Another thing you should really be doing to keep your car in good condition and reliable is letting it warm up gradually before applying hard throttle. Also, you should be letting it cool down gradually before switching it off. So if you've been driving it kind of hard, you then need to do some low revs driving to allow the temperatures to come down gradually before switching the engine off. You see, heating up or cooling down the engine too rapidly can crack metal components. It can also cause oil blockages in some of the oil feed pipes due to the oil solidifying, which can then in turn cause poor lubrication and overheating. And of course, things like revving the engine too high or just needlessly over revving is no good for the longevity of your engine either. And the next top tip, fuel. Always put the premium petrol in your car. Not only does it give you more power and more miles per gallon and better emissions and less carbon deposits in your car, well, when you think of it like that, it pays for itself really, doesn't it? As well, of course, as better reliability. Well, at Wraptor, we've also got some reliability upgrades for the 3 litre and 5 litre supercharged cars. Some of which include an uprated charge cooler radiator. This gives much superior cooling over the standard one. And it's solid metal, there's no plastic end crimp tanks or anything like that, so they're less prone to failure. There's also lots of plastic pipes that we tend to replace for solid aluminium ones. This and more, that's just some examples. We also do a magnetic sump plug, so this will help gather any kind of metallic debris from circulating around your lubrication system within your engine. We also do various levels of supercharger maintenance, and we delete this problematic symposer. This lives on the back of the supercharger. It's very brittle plastic. As you can see, this one started to break already, and we do a lovely little blanking kit that deletes this and gives you better reliability. Another thing I'd highly recommend on the petrol 3 litre and 5 litre supercharged Jaguars is replacing your fuel injectors. If these haven't been done, they're very prone to failure. They can cause a lot of other symptoms and damage within the engine, and it's a good idea to get these changed. All of these upgraded parts and more can be found on our online shop, www.wraptordesign.com. Another frequent question from people: should I tell my insurance if I've tuned my car? Well, the short answer is yes, you really should do. So we get a wide selection of vehicles that have had various levels of tunes and standard vehicles in the shop. And my experience is I don't find a vehicle that's tuned any more or less reliable than a vehicle that is standard. So tuning, is it worth it? Well, overall, I think so, yes. Otherwise, I wouldn't offer it out as a service. Now, this video isn't to put you off tuning at all. In fact, it's to demonstrate that cars break and they need repair and maintenance no matter if they're tuned or not. And it's just to give you some top tips to keep your car in good, reliable health. See, we're very experienced technicians, engineers, tuners and wrap installers here at Wraptor, so we can offer tuning packages that are safe and reliable. Now, if that sounds good to you and you're interested in getting your car tuned, then feel free to contact us. I'll leave our details in the description to this video. If you'd like to check out some of our other tuning projects, please do click subscribe on our YouTube channel, Wraptor Customs, and there's over 100 videos on there. Lots of tuning projects within. Hope you go and watch and enjoy. Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you found the video interesting and informative. And I'll see you next Wednesday around midday for our next video at Wraptor Customs. Thanks for watching, Wraptor. And the next top tip. We'll have another go. And the next top tip. Oh, deliberately messy. And the next top tip. Oh, I'd go like that. And the next top tip. Alright, we'll just catch it this time.